Hello, welcome to the Blueprints, the part of the show where I tell you the work and what the work costs. I have here ginger tea that I boiled down so profusely it looks black. God has done it. I am here to discuss something that I have titled within my own brain space, habbiness of habits. This is my second take. I did that on the first take too. Habits of happiness. Habits of happiness. I blame dyslexia. The phrase came to me like this. I came to the United States from my mother's stem cell surgery. It went very well, mashallah. And my father, whom I call Mr., two dads, at the time that he came in, one person already had the name dad. So his name in my mind is Mr. My Mr. was looking at me because I looked as exhausted as I felt, unfortunately. And he said, "You okay?" And I was like, "Oh, no, no, no." And he was like, "You know how dads like think with their eyebrows? I want to master that art." He said, and I said, "Yeah, I'm not feeling very happy." And he essentially like switched between Creole and English. He explained to me or re-explained to me that happiness is not a spontaneously occurring circumstance. You must have habits of happiness. And if you are proficient in these habits of happiness, you will notice a lot more things that cause you joy or pleasure instead of dwelling on the things that make you upset. Now, I'm summarizing like 15 to 20 minutes of weak fatherly talk. The man does not give unsolicited advice and he does not talk for fun. So every 3 to 6 years, occasionally he goes, "You okay?" And that's how I know the answer is no, I am not. I'm glossing over like 15 to 20 minutes of, like fatherly encouragement. So it certainly did not sound as callous as that. However, this was coming during my break week, which wasn't much of a break at all. I ended up just switching from productive tasks that have to do with my career as a public servant and productive tasks that have to do with taking care of my family because I am my parents' material support. It is on me, and material support does not just mean money. It also means house maintenance and car maintenance and making sure there aren't fucking rats in the garage. We got rats this year because apparently the winter was so cold. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, it wasn't a break. I just switched from one mode of production to another, and I was feeling that exhaustion. And in that exhaustion, I was feeling like the burden of all these projects. And that was unusual and uncomfortable because I don't want to be so tired that I look at my projects and my circumstance and my family and think, ugh, what a burden. I didn't think that a month ago. I'm just out of energy. I was trying to figure out how to put in that reframe. And he gave me really good words for this reframe that I'm going to expand for us all here and now. So, the 12-week year, I think it gets a bad rap because honestly, it's me that went really, really hard on the vocational productive side of work and completely ignored my familial systems and putting systems around those, and also my spiritual systems and putting systems around those. The reason that I say that it's on me is because if you actually read the book, every 12-week year summary talks about the operating system of the 12-week year. That is also what I did because it's the part that I found relevant to share with you all. However, the first third of the book says, don't do shit unless you have a vision. And that vision needs to be larger than you, larger than your mama, larger than the thing that you see directly in front of you all day. Okay, it needs to be the thing that guides and compels you throughout this life towards a cause or a mission or a feeling or a circumstance or a world that is far greater than you. And all of this mumbo jumbo about scheduling and due dates and grading and all that kind of stuff that we're about to talk about, none of that will mean anything to you unless you have a vision that is compelling you through all the day-to-day drudgery. And if you do not have that, none of this will make sense and none of it will stick. Ismontu, did you sit down and concretize your vision in a clearly repeatable thesis-like format so that you could remind yourself to it, so that you could orient to it, and so that you could find a drive that compelled you past getting through the week? No, I did not. So then, when I ended up exhausted trying to figure out how to rest, did you have a vision that would help orient you to what kind of rest was going to be necessary to you in these moments? No, I did not. Thank you so much for asking. Thus, I introduced for quarter two. Habits of happiness. Hello, Ismasu, clinically trained therapist. How are you? This is something that we learn in therapy school, and it's something that gets like repeated, especially if you go into private practice. It's something that you will repeat to your clients often, and it is also something that is very easy to forget. Can y'all hear the wind? Oh, it's serious today. Chicago ain't playing around. It's literally, I know I didn't want to go outside today. I fucking knew I didn't want to go outside today. Well being is something that you cultivate as much as it is dependent on your immediate circumstances. I am not trying to say that you can just wake up and choose to be happy, especially if you are in circumstances that strip you of dignity, whatever it is. If you are of an ability status, of a racial status, of experiencing housing or food precarity, or experiencing something in our capitalistic world that strips you of the dignity that should be available to you no matter what as a human being, then well being is significantly harder to cultivate. I'm not saying that everybody has the same soil and tools of cultivation available to them. I am saying that if you are at a point where you are thinking about incorporating an operating system like 12-week year, you have I will call the luxury of timekeeping or time shaping, right? Where you've been taken out of your immediate circumstances of responding to everything around you enough such that you would like to plan for your quarter. So, included in this planning, now that I have made the audience very clear, included in this planning must be your habits of happiness. What you do to cultivate your own well-being, and is that cultivation something that lives in your day to day and in your week to week and not just at, the end of your quarterly break? I am finding now that I'm very good at planning a break for myself when I put everything down and go be by myself for like 5 days or a week or whatever, just to reset, reorient myself so that I can do the work well. What I am not so good at is orienting myself in my day to day. And it's causing me to view life as points that I leapfrog through. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't want to live a life where I feel like I have to escape from. I want my quarterly reset not to be an escape, but to be a reorientation to the work that I set out to do and why I like it. I don't want to live a life that is so unpleasant or dreary or arduous that I am just running towards the next break. I want to run because I like running. That makes sense? Habits of happiness. One thing that I failed to do in quarter one was take time to think in ink about my routines and the things that orient me to my vision, which for me is the life that is greater than this one. It's one where I'm in really intimate connection with my benevolent divine. And it is one where my material circumstances reflect that, because the world that I look at around me has become more cooperative, has become more materially enriched, has become kinder, and a place where people find it easier to trust one another. I think one of the reasons that I just kind of skipped over the vision is because when I say these things out loud or when I write these things down with my pen, it all feels very, I don't mean to keep saying woo woo, but that's what it feels. It feels like untethered, unmoored, spiritual mumbo jumbo. When your vision is not necessarily something that is going to be super concrete in this daily world. Because if it was, it wouldn't be a vision, it would be a task. I focused on the task because that's what felt, I don't know, material. And while I am not compelled by money, I am compelled by material wealth, right? Like I dream of fruit trees, and that is definitely a kind of wealth. However, I know what it is like to experience, in addition to material security or safety, an emotional, a spiritual, a metaphysical abundance of self, feeling like a fountain. I know what that feels like because everything becomes easeful. Not necessarily easy, like I'm not challenged or my tasks aren't difficult, but that I have a sense of ease around me that is unshakable, that my peace feels unshakable. This used to be a very consistent prayer of mine, especially in times where I was in very tumultuous circumstances. The prayer that I prayed most when I was experiencing homelessness was, please make my peace unconditional. I want unconditional peace. I do not want my peace to be tethered in the direct circumstances around me. I want my peace to exist in every single condition imaginable. And then I would take that to its logical extreme. So any emotion that I was feeling, I was like, peace must be available to me now. Peace must be able to cohabitate with every single emotion available to me. And that practice of going, what is the reason that I can't feel peaceful right now? And then coming up short and then bringing myself back down to a point where I like regulated my nervous system or I regulated my breath, where I reoriented, you can see me doing it now, wow, where I reoriented my mind's eye past what was directly in front of me and towards where I was going. Now that is a vision. I got really good at that. I have always felt like happiness was a luxury or something happenstance rather than something that I can cultivate, even though I know that it's not true, even though I've seen changes happen in my clients when we work on those habits of happiness. Past, the buying of things and the treats and like the whatnot. What are the things that sincerely like bring you a childlike delight? That's going to be a big focus for this quarter and probably forever. I want to get to a proficiency where I consider myself a happy person. I've never really considered myself a happy person. The world that we live in promotes depression and promotes anxiety and promotes exhaustion in people, and that the systems of care, these alleged cares that we have set up within the mental health field, is also a product of making sure that we don't ever care ourselves out of capitalism, care ourselves out of this constant state of overwork and drudgery. It did not occur to me that it was possible to be happy. I don't have a clear idea right now at this very moment what my habits of happiness are because I have never worked to cultivate them. I don't really know. Happiness always just kind of feels like a gift, like a universe kiss on the forehead, rather than it felt like something I could pull down from the ether for myself. And now that I'm saying it out loud, that does feel kind of silly because I can pull a tractor for Sierra Leone out of the ether. I can pull a life where I'm donation funded and I work for the public out of the ether. Why can't I pull things that make me happy out of the ether? Why did I think that was impossible? I don't know. I I don't know. With these things being said, Blueprints is a bigger project than I previously anticipated. You smell to what else is due. There's, I believe we have opportunity here to think and act upon ether space community that would bring about change in our material lives. That's what I want to spend the next blueprint talking about. I would like a collective syllabus. I propose that we read Pedagogy of the Oppressed together, and I have thoughts about what it is that I would like to talk about that I think would be helpful for us. I also have thoughts about how we might expand this stage. I wanted to start with this very cozy day, unstructured blueprints, because I want to remind myself what it feels like to have fun on camera and with a microphone. The reason that I started doing all of this internet stuff that is weird and uncomfortable and fun was because it was fun. And that was it. I had no other objectives or motives than to have fun. Things have been very serious. People take me very seriously. I take myself very seriously. And I need to remind myself, and this will be a space where I remind myself that in addition to being, legendary, I'm also a little worm and a comforter and a sick durag. Thinking about crayons. The notebook that I have now, I keep wanting to color, but I don't have coloring utensils. I've been working in black ink like a fucking adult. Think about crayons. All right, see you next week. Have a good one.